Hello, Kehilat Darchei Tzion. We're on Erev Shabbat, Parashat Korach. In our parasha, we read about the terrible sin and the big dispute, argument, fight that was within Am Yisrael, that Korach and the 250 leaders from Am Yisrael stood up against Moshe and Aaron, who are so devoted for Am Yisrael, and stood up against them and fought with them and argued with them, and the severe punishment of being swallowed in the ground and burned in the Mishkan. A very big tragedy, a very sad story. But us reading the Torah, we read the story and we understand exactly what's happening. We understand who is right and who is wrong. Therefore, it's so surprising to read in the middle of the parasha, right after the severe punishment of those 250 leaders who went to sacrifice the Ktoret in the Mishkan and were burnt. וילונו כל עדת בני ישראל ממחרת על משה ועל אהרון לאמור אתם המיתם את עם השם. All of Adat Bnei Israel, a big group from within Am Yisrael, come out against Moshe and Aaron, and they start complaining, you killed the nation of Hashem. And we know how much Moshe cares for Am Yisrael. We know what Moshe was willing to do, to sacrifice himself at the time of Chet HaEgel, just to save Am Yisrael. And we hear the statement and we say, Atem hamitem et Am Hashem? You're the ones who killed Am Hashem? No, it's those people who took the wrong choices, who behaved in the improper way, who rebelled against Hashem and against his, against the leaders that are there in his name. How can you blame Moshe and Aaron for what happened? And it's surprising, and suddenly we can understand that people see things in very different perspectives. And sometimes people see things from their perspective, and it doesn't matter what's going to happen. Their way of understanding and looking at the world is not going to change. What people believe is what people believe, and it takes something very big to change it, if at all, and maybe only by education, step after step, day after day. And even after such an event of the ground opening up, and Korach and everyone falling in, and people being burned in the Mishkan, they can still come up and blame Moshe and Aaron for everything that happened. Hashem punishes them. But I think that for us, for generations to come, it's so important to understand two things. To understand, first of all, about others. We expect others to understand what we understand. Something happened, you have to understand exactly to interpret it the same way that we do. And they don't. Could be that we are completely right. I understand everything exactly the correct way. But they don't understand it that way. It's something very human. Even when Hashem punishes Korach, people can say, Atem hamitem et Am Hashem. But also the opposite lesson we can learn, to be humble. Sometimes we're so sure about our truth, about our perspective, but maybe we are in the role of those people that came and blamed Moshe and Aaron. Maybe we're also getting it all wrong. Maybe our perspective of things is not correct. We have to have a little bit of humility in order to interpret reality. We do the best we can in order to understand what Hashem is trying to tell us and what is the correct way of responding towards the situation. But we have to do it with humility and with understanding that the other person across the street has a completely different perspective. And through that, we have to learn to live together. Shabbat Shalom.